My neighbor's baby won't stop crying. But they don't have a baby. I moved into my apartment about 3 months ago. It's a decent place, cheap rent, close to work, and surprisingly quiet for a city complex. At least, it was quiet. About 2 weeks ago, I started hearing a baby crying in the apartment next to mine. At first, I didn't think much of it. Babies cry. But then I realized something odd. I'd never seen or heard any signs of a baby before. No toys, no stroller, no exhausted parents shuffling around the hallways. The crying happens every night, usually around 2 or 3 a.m. It's not a normal cry, either. It's strained. Wet, almost like it's coming through water or a thick layer of cloth. I finally worked up the courage to casually ask my neighbor, Mrs. Patel, about it. She's an older woman, mid-60s maybe, who lives alone. She gave me a confused look. A baby? There's no baby here, dear. I laughed awkwardly. Oh, I must have misheard. I just thought I heard a baby crying at night. Her expression changed. Just slightly. Her eyes darted toward her door before she forced a smile. You must be imagining things. That night, the crying was louder. This time, I pressed my ear against the wall. It sounded closer. No, it sounded like it was coming from inside my own apartment. I checked everywhere. The closets, under the bed, even the vents. Nothing. But the crying continued, echoing from the walls. I barely slept. The next day, I decided to knock on Mrs. Patel's door again. When she opened it, I noticed something I hadn't before. Her apartment was almost completely empty. No furniture, no decorations, just a single rocking chair in the middle of the room. And on the chair, an old baby blanket. Faded, frayed at the edges. Before I could say anything, she muttered, "Don't listen to it." Then she shut the door in my face. That night, the crying turned into laughter. And it was right outside my bedroom door. I didn't sleep. I couldn't. The laughter, thin, wheezy, wrong, went on for what felt like hours. Sometimes it was right outside my door. Sometimes it was in the walls. And once, just once, it was right beside my bed. At some point, it stopped. Silence stretched through my apartment, thick and suffocating. I wanted to believe it was over, that maybe I'd imagined everything. But then... tap. 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 A soft knocking at my bedroom door. I grabbed my phone and turned on the flashlight. My hands were shaking as I reached for the doorknob. I don't know why I opened it. Maybe I thought it was Mrs. Patel, maybe I just wanted to prove to myself there was nothing there. But there was something there. A small figure stood in the dark. Too short to be an adult, too still to be alive. The light from my phone barely touched it, but I saw enough. Sunken eyes. Skin too pale. A mouth stretched wide, too wide, in a grin. And in its tiny, bony hands, Mrs. Patel's baby blanket. It whispered something. A single word, raspy and breathless. Mama. I slammed the door. I didn't sleep. I didn't breathe. I just sat there, listening as the laughter faded into soft, hiccuping sobs. By morning, it was gone. I packed my things and left that same day. I didn't even bother breaking my lease. Before I drove away, I saw Mrs. Patel standing in her doorway, watching me with that same sad smile. As I pulled out of the parking lot, I swear I saw the curtain in my old apartment shift. A small hand pressing against the glass. Waving goodbye.